my name is Heather Wiggins, also known as Alia. Alrighty everybody, welcome to the first episode of Mythological Monday. So for episode 1 we are going to be talking about Japanese mythology, specifically Shinto. So how Japanese mythology believes that the universe was created is that before the creation, the universe was a shapeless matter, just a mass of shapeless particles, and it was completely silent. And then eventually a sound began to emerge as particles began to move. So the particles of light went up to the top of the universe, and then below them the lightest particles became the clouds, and then below that the lighter particles became the heavens. And that area was known as the Takamagahara, the high plane of heaven. And then the remaining denser particles that had not gone up became earth. And so with the creation of the heavens and earth, 5 initial deities were formed, and these were known as Ameno Minakanushi, Takamimusubi, Kamimusubi, Umashi Ashikabi Hikoji, and Ameno Tokotachi. They had no partners, no definitive sex, and immediately after emergence they went into hiding and were never spoken about in mythology again. And then after then, 2 more deities were formed. This was Kuni no Tokotachi and Toyo Kumono, and they also had no partners and no definitive sex, and like the first 5 deities, they immediately went into hiding as well. And then 10 more deities were formed, and they were 5 pairs of gods. So they were, each pair consisted of 1 male and 1 female deity. The first pair was Uhijini and his younger sister and wife, Suhijini, and their names meant the mud and sand that the earth was created out of. And then after them was Tsunuguhi and his younger sister and wife, Ikuguhi, and they represented the plants that bloomed out of the mud and sand of the earth, so the formation of the plants. And then after them was Otonoji and his younger sister and wife, Otonobe, and they represented the formation of man and woman, specifically related to, their names specifically related to the genitals. So basically they were representing the creation of people and genitals. And then after them was Omodaro and his younger sister and wife, Ayakashikone, and they represented the completion of the earth and how wonderful that it was. And then the final pair of brother and sister was Izanagi and his younger sister and wife Izanami, and they were tasked with creating the islands of Japan. So they are known later on as the creator god and goddess because they created Japan. She and Izanagi created the Japanese archipelago, also known as the Kunyumi, and they also gave birth to a large number of gods known as the Kamiumi. Izanagi, his body was, out of his body formed the sun, moon, and storms gods. And so to talk about them now, so some later gods and goddesses that formed from Izanagi and Izanami, the creator god and goddess, was the Tsukiyomi, who is the god of the moon, Amaterasu, the goddess of the sun and fertility, and she's important because her grandson was the first emperor of Japan, and she gave him a special jeweled sword to show his divinity. And then also Susanoo the god of the sea and storms, was the third god that was created from Izanagi's body. And so Susanoo is known to be a jealous god. He was very jealous of Izanagi and Izanami for being the creator god and goddess. And then some other gods and goddesses that are known in Japanese mythology are Hachiman, the god of warriors, Inari, the goddess of agriculture and foxes, and then Kagutsuchi, the god of fire. And then along with the deities of Japanese mythology, they also had creatures or monsters known as the yokai. So one of the most popular of the yokai was a creature known as the Yuki Onna, and this is a tale of a snow woman whose icy breath freezes her victims to death. Other popular yokai that are well known include the Funayure that flood and sink ships, and the Zashikiwarashi, which are child ghosts. They are known to play pranks and grant good fortune. There is also the Jorogumo, which is the spider woman, so this woman that has 8 spider legs and she eats people. There's also the Wanyudo, which is a head inside of a big wheel, and it will harm people and drag them to hell. And then there's also the Kuchisaki Onna, which is a woman with a big mutilated mouth, and what she does is when male travelers come into town and she sees them, she asks them if she is pretty. And then when they say yes, she takes off her mouth covering and reveals her mutilated mouth, and then asks them again, am I pretty? And then that's when she mutilates them and kills them. And then there is also a creature known as the Baku that protects humans. It feeds on nightmares and it scares off the yokai, or the monsters. So yeah, here is my little introduction to Japanese mythology. So Japanese mythology is one of many mythologies that are presented in my upcoming book, Selcouth, that comes out on June 1st. So be excited for that. I'm super excited. It's one of the main mythologies that I do utilize throughout the book. So yeah, episode 2 will be out on next Monday of Mythological Monday, and I hope that you enjoyed.